What's going on, YouTube? It is finally here, the XFL Division Championship games. We got two great games this weekend. Like that they're spread out, so we got some fun Saturday and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday. Um, so that's fun. You guys know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Read the description for all the other info. Not as many games to cover this week, which is interesting. We'll just get quick into it. So, first game of the weekend, we got Arlington Renegades at Houston Roughnecks. Um, Houston has had a solid year, finished 7-3. Um, all their wins came against Houston, beat Arlington twice, beat the other three teams in the South, and they beat Vegas the one time they played. Coming in on a 3-game win streak, I believe. Yes, 3-game win streak. After a setback against those setbacks against the XFL North. Arlington's kind of limping into the playoffs here. Finished 4-6, if I'm right. Yeah, 4-6. Never quite figured out the quarterback position. Um, we'll go to just stats, but let's go to team stats just to, I guess that's more better use this time. So you can see the Roughnecks. Renegades throw the ball more. Not in terms of yards. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, this is just alphabetical. Let's go by yards. So yeah, neither teams throw the ball a ton. Roughnecks clearly had more success though. 16 TDs versus 5 and only one more interception. With a few more attempts, so tracks pretty well. Rushing, let's see. Yeah, the Roughnecks, that's what I thought. The Roughnecks are one of the better rushing teams, averaging almost a full yard per carry, better than the Renegades. Um, so the running game, the Houston has a pretty solid run game. We'll go to the defense side of the ball quick. Don't really like how this is tackles. It's a really useless stat. But see, Renegades are not a great tackling team. We go by sacks. Houston led the league in sacks with 35. So that's a big number to look out for as well. Probably tackles for only second in tackles for loss, but still way outpaced them. They had a lot of INTs too. The Renegades had more. Stand corrected. But pretty much even on those INTs and all. Um, feeling on this one is it's gonna come down. I think Luis Perez is gonna have to win this game for Arlington. I'm not sure he's gonna be the superstar, but he has to make enough plays. I don't think this Houston offense is so unbeatable, but I think it matters. I think Houston has offense. Brandon Silvers can't make mistakes, which he's has a little bit of a habit of doing. I don't think he has to win the game. He just can't lose it for him and has to make enough plays. I think Luis Perez is gonna have to play a very good game. Against a really tough defense. I think he has to avoid getting sacked. I think he has to avoid getting sacked is a big thing. He can't get picked off too much. He has to take care of the ball as well. He's played the game of his life. If Luis Perez plays up to his potential, I think this is a close game. If Luis Perez okay or something less than that, then I think they're in trouble. Um, North Division game. This is the big one, maybe. DC at Seattle. DC's lone loss came in like week 5 or 6 or 7 to Orlando. Seattle's 3 losses. 2 of them came to DC. One came to St. Louis. Let me see if I can find that stat. Let's just go to their schedule. So they lost to DC in week 8 by 1 point. And they lost to DC week 1 by 4 points. And they lost on the goal line. The first game they played, they lost on a goal line play. The second game they played, they lost on a conversion. They could have tied it or taken the lead with a conversion. They didn't get it. So, they've been 2 games separated by 5 points. DC, I think there's a reason that they won those games. I think a lot of people will look at this and say, oh, well, Seattle's been right there, which I agree with largely. But I think the other thing is DC can run the ball, and Jordan Talmadge doesn't turn the ball over. They have another Derek King can give you weapons. Abram Smith's a great running back, so you have to shut him down. There's a lot of things you have to take care of. Lucky Jackson, they have a lot of weapons they have to look out for. But so does Seattle. I mean, Seattle's defense has been really good. They held St. Louis, a team who scored 53 points week 10 to 12 in a game that St. Louis kind of had to have at home. St. Louis at home. So I mean, they've shut down. They've kind of kept. They've been having terrible defensive performances. So I think we'll look at the stats quickly. Just we're gonna look at yard. I mean, yeah, Seattle throw the ball way more. 376 attempts. So they threw the ball 120 more times for 600 more yards. So not a huge difference. Yeah, even 18. That's with Derek King and Jordan Ta'amu. But I think 13 interceptions versus 4 interceptions. That's a big difference. That's the reason that big reason that DC that doesn't get played is that they usually win the turnover battle. They had a couple sloppy games with fumbles, but I mean their quarterbacks they threw 4 picks all year. Ben DiNucci, as good as he was, even H. McCarron, as good as he was, threw 6, and their other quarterbacks threw a couple. So I mean that's something. Rushing, this isn't gonna be close. It's closer than I thought though. Yeah, I mean 322 attempts, 209 attempts. The running ball was 100 times. So reasonable efficiency, more rushing touchdowns. That's Derek King, that's Abram Smith, that's their whole fleet of backs they have. Let's just see. Yeah, Seattle was few. I mean, only 4 less total touchdowns, so not a crazy difference. Look at defense quickly. I wonder this tackles thing is so stupid. Just give me yards. Defenders, I mean, I don't know what to make. Like, yeah, Seattle's less tackle. Let's go to sacks. So 4 less sacks on the year. I mean, that's meaningful enough. It means something. I mean, look at tackles for a loss. They're both right around the same pace. So I mean, I don't feel too different about that number. The sack thing, half a sack a game. I mean, that matters. It's significant enough over 10 games, I guess. I guess I have to say that. Yeah, they're tied in forced fumbles, INTs, few ahead of Seattle. Yeah, Seattle doesn't turn the ball over much, which is kind of I'm sort of sifting through. You will know who I'm picking, I think, if you watch this channel, but I think what I'm struggling with is the fact that I'm not struggling with. I think a lot of Houston would struggle and does struggle against DC because their whole defense is predicated on getting sacks and turnovers. Like that's their whole defense. I mean, more than that, but their big thing is they get a lot of sacks and they got a lot of INTs. And DC doesn't do that. So DC isn't playing their strengths. But Seattle doesn't really pick the ball off a ton, and DC doesn't throw a ton of picks. So it's not DC's strength of holding onto the ball isn't a huge weakness because Seattle's won a lot of the year without taking the ball away a crazy amount. I mean, they've had picks and turnovers and forced fumbles, but they're not a turnover machine. So I think that actually plays into their advantage because the other DC strength isn't gonna matter. DC strength doesn't hurt their Seattle strength of defense plays fine into DC strength and offense. They can stop the run, they get reasonable enough pressure, they can do all that. But they don't need to create turnovers, which I think is a big thing. On the other hand, DC can just run the ball with 3 different guys. They have 3 guys who I think could run the ball and take over this game. You can tell me they're the best offensive player. Without even thinking of their receivers. Let's see who the receivers are just while I'm here. I know Seattle's. Let's just see. Nope. See defenders. Lucky Jackson. He's a big threat. 15.9 yards per reception on 36 catches. Chris Blair, big play threat. Lucky Jackson was the guy though. All year I felt like. Let's go to Seattle. Ja'Cory Pearson, duh. I mean, he was incredible. Best receiver in the XFL. Get an NFL contract. Josh Gordon. These guys have more stats, but they throw the ball more. But I mean, Jawan Green's also a great red zone target, I think. Blake Jackson's been solid. Doesn't pop out as much. Josh Gordon's the big name, and he's just looks like he shouldn't be in the XFL. But Jawan Green, they have 2 big guys. Ja'Cory Pearson just kind of an every jack of all trades guy. Rushing, I'm a little bit. Ben DiNucci's leading rushing. Morgan Ellison. Philip Lindsay hasn't really done a ton, but he's a fine, like, get you a yard back. Let's see the defenders. Yeah, Abram Smith, Jordan Talmud two, Raquel Armstead, Derek King. I mean, yeah, three guys, four guys. They have four guys who can. Even Raquel Armstead, in 8 games. That's a pretty good total. So, a lot to think about. These are the lines. I'm recording this on Thursday. I'm recording this Thursday, so these lines might change. Right now, the line is Houston minus 6.5. Feels about fair. I could think Arlington could cover, but that wouldn't be my bet. It seems like a reasonable line. DC at -3. I get why this line is this way. I just can't imagine. Seattle's only lost by more than that. Well, they lost to them by 4 once and then by 1. So the line's about they've lost them by average of 2.5. It's possible. I guess it'll depend what the weather's like in DC. That's something I have to consider. Let's see. Let's see. AccuWeather daily. Let's see what the weather's gonna be like. So periods of rain, that doesn't bode super well for Seattle. I mean, I know who I'm picking. I think 3 is a pretty good line. I'm picking Seattle to cover that. If the line was like 2 or 1.5, I wouldn't feel good about it. I'm pick Seattle because I'm a Seattle fan, but in terms of actual what I would bet, I think if that line got to DC -4, it's a slam dunk. You take Seattle. I think if it gets any smaller, you're kind of gets like 1 point. I don't know what I would do, but 3 feels like appropriate line. Basically saying the game's a coin, little more than a coin flip in favor of DC, which I agree with. Excuse me. You see my picks. I think Houston's gonna win and cover. Would it shock me if Houston didn't cover this, but we'll see. And DC and Seattle to win and cover. I think Ben DiNucci has to find a way to take care of the ball this week, which the rain does not make me feel great about that, but he has to find a way. If he can find a way to take care of the ball and still be effective, I think that'll be huge. So that's all for this video, guys. I might be doing some stuff over this weekend, jumping some kind of different, shorter videos, so we'll see. But so subscribe and hit that bell button so you know what's coming. Yeah. Thanks for watching.